Hello there, gods and beautiful goddesses of your reality. Welcome back. This is Manifest with Jenny and Nutritious Lives. Please like, subscribe and click the little bell icon so when I upload videos they come straight to you. I'm really relaxed today and I don't know whether my brain's going to be a bit slower. It's a lovely relaxed, but just bear with if I sort of go off on a tangent. But that being said, I'm putting out the beautiful assumption that this is going to go amazing, of course. But today's video is to do with logical, literal thinking and as I've said to you before, being that word that I used to use all the time that I hate using now is being a realist, and what it means for manifesting and what it means for genuinely looking on a more positive note. Because of course for me, I want you to manifest your desires and your best life. I want you to be happy, and it's all about raising our vibration and our beautiful energy, right? So we can be the best version of ourselves for ourselves and for the collective, for everybody else in our environment. So that's my standpoint anyway, and of course this is why I do the coaching, so we can all live our best life. I mean, I know I want to live my best life and continue to grow, evolve and change. I'm waffling, with all that energy I didn't think I had, I'm waffling. But what it means with regards to literal thinking and being a realist and logic on the manifesting journey, and how I understand how it plays into the ego and how this can hold us back or sabotage us. So what I've learned and what I know, and I try to talk to you about the way that the ego tries to keep us alive. So it's the ego's job. And that's okay, because we've got an ego for that very reason. And I've talked about in previous videos, of course, about thousands of years ago, early man, and even now still in tribes, that there's still a lot of dangers, more physical dangers. There's the saber-toothed tiger. There was all these physical problems that would occur, that we needed to think on our feet to survive. And as we've evolved and progressed, we still have this ego, but now in our modern day society, like I've expressed previously, it's the stresses of everyday life. It's the emotional stresses. It's the deadlines for work. It's the relationships that stress us. The leaving the house in our cars, the traffic, and I mean obviously the list could go on. So we are still we still need our ego, but the essence of an ego, like I was saying, is to keep us safe. So by very nature, it's flawed in that sense. It's limited because it's doing its job, right? So with the literal way of thinking when it comes to manifestation, it's always trying to keep us in that perpetual cycle of negativity, really. Watch out for this danger. What's this? What have I got to be scared about here? What have I got to be suspicious about here? By nature, of course, we can understand that. So if we really break that down and think about this, on a logical, literal level, then we understand that, of course, it's limited. It's stopping us from doing certain things because of death, right? So, and this is the point, and I want to show you with manifestation how we can use this to our advantage, and how we can incorporate the spiritual side of it, and how I do, and how I overcome this limitation now with my ego. So, for example, we logical, literal, realistically, when something happens in our 3D, right? So I'll use, say, I'll use just manifesting SP because that's come to mind and it seems quite easy to understand. So say we're manifesting our love, our one, love of our life, or whatever we desire with regards to love, an SP. And this SP that we have in mind moves to another country, right? Our brain is automatically going to think of, remember, because it doesn't actually say in these terms, but emotionally we're dying, right, from an ego perspective. So it's taking us down that negative route. If your partner is moving abroad, it's very unusual, unless you're into manifestation and you've got this and you understand it, that you start thinking positive, right? Because by nature it's flawed. And those are just only circumstances. This is why we talk about circumstances are irrelevant, because they are only circumstances and every circumstance can change. It's just in that moment. So if we understand that by nature the ego is always going to take us down a pessimistic route, a fear of death route, emotional death or physical death, we understand that that is what we do as a collective, as humans. That's all of us. Because we've all got a brain and we've all got an ego. So if we look at it like this, we as a collective perpetuate these thoughts and feelings about the ego, right? It's only when we understand the way that the brain works can we then choose a thought in opposition to that, because we know that that's what it's doing. It's the awareness of it. Does that make sense? So of course, your logical, literal brain is going to tell you, yeah, but everybody, like, A leads to B leads to C, right? It's just the way it is, Jen. It's the natural order. Well, yeah, but from this flawed perspective. So again, we perpetuate it by communicating with each other collectively, saying the same thing. But we're always coming from that flawed space anyway. So we need to realise this to override the system. So this, because I understand that now, this is how I override the system. And when it comes to manifestation, we've got to understand that this is very spiritual, it's very energetic, it's the quantum field, it's this science that we can't always comprehend because of our limited perspective. So to use this to our advantage, we've got to understand that when we overcome that limited thinking, so say for example, we'll go back to the example that I was using, so that your partner, the person you're manifesting, moves abroad. Now, as a conscious creator now, and understanding what my ego is doing, I have a choice. It's not being what do they call it, delulu. It's not being delulu. It's looking at it from the other perspective. So as easy as a collective we go down the negative route and associate that as negative, we can change it to a positive the same. It's only our repetition of that thought that creates. So if we start to, our ego follows on suit. So if we retrain our ego to go to another thought, another way of looking at it, another way of dealing with it, it will follow on suit with the repetition, with the persistence. So say for example, the majority of people would say, that's a bad circumstance. Oh, that's emotional death, right? The ego. That's emotional death. I'm got to be sad about this. I've got to be heartbroken. I'm not manifesting. It's not working. So we have to take control of that and flip it. I'm not saying flip your thoughts, because I don't like to flip thoughts, because I like to feel and then and go general and then start affirming and continue choosing what I desire. And so that's what I do. So I understand, and I can't stop my ego from doing that, because it's what it does. So we can't override the system and say, ego, never think a bad thought again, because its job is to keep us safe. So we have to incorporate it into our manifestation techniques, tools, whatever we're using, affirmations, to create the life of our desire. I hope this is making sense. So by understanding and overriding the system, we can start saying to ourselves, for example, this is just off the cuff, that her moving abroad is exactly what we need to have the time away to recalibrate. You know, this is a way that he can realise how much he misses me, or she can, or just to change the story to be a beneficial one for you and what you're manifesting. You know, this is going to show this person that this is highlighted to them that it's really, they can't live without me. That's the bridge of events that they needed to go through to realise that it was always coming back to me. That's just one example. We could change the subject in a million ways, but coaching with me, this would be the changing the story, changing the vision of you, the thoughts and feelings of you, the self-concept of you, because we're always getting tripped up with self-concept. And then we would create a different story and persist in that story. So I hope I've made that clear. The other way with regards to the spiritual side of it is it doesn't exist logic. On the spiritual plane, the ego is null and void. It's we can have, be and do anything that we want. So when we've established the limitation of the 3D ego and are able to understand that and then change it from that perspective, we can then go into whatever we want in our imaginary acts. And that's creating. It's about being calm in our nervous system and thinking about what do we want, and we can be anything in the 4D, in the 5D, all the Ds. We can be anything. So we can create from that space of, if you want to be a millionaire but your limited way of thinking is telling you there's no way. What we're doing is we're tackling it from that basic level of understanding the ego, and then allowing us to just flow with our imagination to say, but it doesn't matter that that's how it feels right now, that how could I possibly go from being broke to being a millionaire, having a successful multi-million pound company, to having this love of my life, and I've never experienced it. I mean, what is that? I've never experienced it. We haven't got to experience it. We've got to feel it. We've got to see it in our imaginary acts, and that's what's going to bring it in. So we can work with this literal, logical and realistic way by understanding the ego, which then, when we've established that isn't a factor of what's going to hold us back then from being in this beautiful vision of we can be, have and do anything we want. And hence this is why I always say you are the gods and goddesses of your reality. This is what we've been doing from birth. And of course, I'm still learning, I'm still evolving, I'm still growing, but I'm doing it step by step. I'm choosing the new version of me every single day. And the more I go on this journey, the more I don't even remember who that old version of me was, because the programming isn't there anymore. Yeah, I still trip up, and I still have to realise that I have to come back to pulling my energy back, investing back into me, telling myself, reassuring myself that I am this version. Of course, I'm flawed by nature, we all are. But as I say, as I go on this journey, that old version of me is dying. And it's like it feels like this was always me, if that makes sense. And this is the work, guys. This is what I want you to really understand. And once you get it, and once you've eradicated that old programming, that version of you, it's like it was never there. You were never that person. You've always been this person that makes better decisions, that follows their desires, their dreams, are stronger, more willpower, more self-love, self-preservation, see the beauty in others because you see it in yourself. The list could go on. That is the new version of me, and I want to teach you, or to help you bring out that wonderful version of you, and let it take you wherever makes you happy. Because I always say, this isn't about me. I'm good with what I want. I want to encourage you to be authentic and good and happy about what you want. So I'll finish it there. Passionate as always, you know what I'm like. I hope you're having a wonderful day, sending lots of loving energy your way as always, and I will see you in the next one.